Ethiopia was once vastly covered with virgin natural high forests. However, these forests have been disappearing at an alarming rate during the last 100 years. Forestry professionals claim that the rising demand for farmland and grazing plots as well as the increasing need for firewood has worsened the problem. According to FAO's recent report, Ethiopia has been losing 40,000 hectares of forest annually during the period from 1990 to 2000. This huge loss of natural forests caused a massive soil degradation both in quality and quantity. Accordingly, about 50% of highland soils have lost their productive potential due mainly to severe soil erosion. Some 11% of agricultural lands in the highlands of Ethiopia, where 80% of total population resides, have been seriously eroded. These lands would have produced 1 million quintals of crop per year, which would have fed 4 million people. About 1.9 to 3.5 billion tons of fertile soil are washed off and displaced from the highlands by heavy and torrential rains every year. Due to this, most of the eastern and northern parts of Ethiopia have become highly degraded, and many places are dominated by bare rocks. It is estimated that the Ethiopian population doubles every 30 years at a current growth of 3%. If this is not given due attention, and the natural resources are not conserved, Ethiopia will face a serious disaster. Currently, some governmental and non-governmental organizations are working towards tackling this problem. However, the 2003 FAO report claims that it is only 216,000 hectares of land which have been planted with trees until the year 2000. In order to sustain the natural resource bases, researchers urge for adequate protection of remnant forest and also extensive planting of trees. Highly degraded areas need to be well protected from further interferences and destruction by humans and animals. Embarking on large-scale plantation establishment and management needs adequate planning and implementation programs, the experience which is quite lacking in Ethiopia. Such programs are also financially very demanding, which again would not be an easy option for Ethiopia. Researchers urge that encouragement and involvement of the rural farmers, which account for 85% of the total population, to plant trees on their lands is the most viable option. They stress that the future of forests lies in the hands of the farmers. Agroforestry is a type of land use system in which farmers plant various types of trees and/or shrubs within and around their gardens and farmlands in association with agricultural crops cultivation and/or livestock husbandry. The term agroforestry was coined in the early 1970s, even though it has not been traditionally practiced long before this in Ethiopia. This film focuses on the traditional land use systems of Gedeo Zone Wonago district in southern Ethiopia, which represents an exemplary and highly sophisticated indigenous farming system. Wonago district is located at a distance of about 386 kilometers south of Addis Ababa. The district covers a total area of 24,790 hectares and hosts a total of 267,371 inhabitants. The district is divided into 41 peasant associations. Wonago district is bordered by Oromia region to the west, Sidama zone to the north, Yirgajife district to the south, and Bule district to the east. This study was conducted in 6 purposefully selected PAs of the district. According to elders of Andida, Tumticha, Bulla, Mokonisa, Arorisa, and Bonko Okote PAs, the present multi-story land use system of the district has been practiced in the area for about 200 to 300 years. The vegetation structures of the farming systems of the district appear as virgin natural forest, as if never attended by human or animal interferences. But when watched closely, the vegetation covers are made up of complex man-made plant species that are carefully exposed to meet the diverse ecological and economic needs of the communities. Here, every herbaceous and tree species has a purpose. Spontaneously, growing weeds may seem unwanted. On the contrary, they are carefully attended and managed by farmers for different purposes. They are often cut and spread on the ground to protect the soil against erosion and to maintain soil fertility. Among herbaceous crops, various spice species such as kororima and pepper, cabbage, lettuce, yam, taro, and pineapple are widely grown in various parts of the district. The herbaceous crops, together with tree crops, play a significant role in bridging the food supply gaps during harsh times. Other important crops include coffee, the main cash crop, and inset, the staple food crop. Trees play a vital role in providing a natural shelter for all crop plants that stand together in harmony.
እያንዳንዱ በማሳው ላይ ያሉት ማንኛውም ተክሎች ጥቅም አላቸው። ጥቅሙን ስላላቸው ይሄ ከፍተኛ ጥግግት ያለው አካባቢ ይሄ ጥብር እርሻ ይዞት ያለው።
In the past, the area was dominated by large numbers of tree species like Podocarpus, Syzygium, Cordia, and Croton. Erythrina was a dominant tree species in the higher altitudes. After people settled in the area, they started to cut down trees and plant crops like wheat, corn, sorghum, horse bean, field peas, and teff. Then they planted inset, which they brought from across the Awash River on higher grounds. Inset was introduced into the lowlands from Michile area. Later, the settlers embarked on planting coffee mainly for cash and milletia as shade trees for coffee bushes. Coffee is introduced to certain parts of the district from Gidabo area.
Bagebo no buno kanna bota ke isrenet we shoka sekenet buno we shiunda buno kalsan
buno ወጣበት ቡና ተክላለሁ እንሰት መውጣብ እንሰት ተክላለሁ
ሀቂቸረ
እንጨትም አለኝ
ዋንዛ አለ
ወደስ ዋንዛም አለ
ማኖ ብርብራ አለ
ብርብራም አለ
ነው
ተን ይሄ ሁሉ ነገር አለ ሁሉ አዝሪት በተለያየ ቦታ ከየው ነው የኖክሮ ያለው የሰራ ያረስኩ በዛ ነው የሚኖረው
የመሬቱ አቀማመጥ ራሱ እንደ ኮንዘርቭ አድርጎ እንዲይዝ አድርጎታል ለምሳሌ አብዛኛ ይሄ ኃይለኛ ከፍተኛ ተዳፋት ናቸው ወደ ላይ ወደ ቡሌ መሄጃ ወጣቸው አይታችሁ እንደሆነ ከፍተኛ ተዳፋት ነው ይብን ወደ 40 50 60 ስሎፕ ውስጥ ያለው ነው ይሄ መሬት በዚህ መልኩ ኮንዘርቭ አድርጎ ካልያዘ ናቹራሊ ኤግዚስት እንደማያደርግ ስለተረዳ ይመስለኛል የድሮ የቀድሞዎቹ ሰዎች ይሄንን ትራዲሽናል ሲስተም ተከተሉት
Farmers found that monocropping is not a profitable farming practice in the area. This is mainly attributed to the fact that they own small plots of land which do not allow them to produce satisfactory output to sustain their families. Farmlands located in the steep uphills were quite susceptible to soil erosion hazards. This necessitated planting of diverse tree and shrub species that bind the soil particles together against erosive agents. Accordingly, the forefathers started planting trees within and around their farmlands, both for their ecological and economic benefits.
እንግዲህ ቅድማያታቸው ናቸው እንደዚህ ያደረጉት እና የራሳቸው መቶ እድሜ
The legacy of tree planting passed from generation to generation through elders' directions. Baba Wantaben means naturally regenerated trees are not being destroyed. Successive generations respected this verdict to the present day and refrain from cutting multi-purpose trees without ensuring their adequate replacements. At the beginning, When the area was fully covered with natural vegetation, it was hardly possible for some herbaceous crops to successfully grow in the cold and foggy conditions. With the gradual dwindling of trees and dense natural vegetation, the climate of the higher altitudes got warmer and clearer. This created favorable conditions for lower altitude food and cash crops. Major plant species in the area include coffee and various tree and fruit species in the lower altitudes. In the middle altitude, inset, coffee, and shade trees are the dominant vegetation species. In the higher altitudes, the dominance of inset gradually increases. Inset is a source of food for more than 10 million people. It only takes 3 years to reach a stage where it can be used for vegetative propagation. In the propagation process, the initial propagation corm cut into suitable sizes and buried into the soil and produces dense seedlings called sima, which later are separated into individual seedlings called funta. After the seedlings grow to appropriate size, they are either planted or sold to generate cash income. A newly planted inset takes 4 to 7 years to reach full maturity. Kocho is a raw food material processed from inset. It is considered a superior food for the rural communities involved in heavy physical work since it remains in stomach for a long time. The leaves of inset are used for various purposes. However, it harvests rainwater from wider area and funnels to the base of the plant and thus keeps the soil under inset moisture for a longer period of time. The waste of inset decompose quickly and make a good green manure to fertilize the soil. The leaves also are used as a mattress wrapper for house thatching. Coffee is highly regarded in the area. It is used for household consumption and is also a major cash crop. As soon as coffee is harvested, it is instantly marketed to generate cash income. The remaining coffee yield is dried and kept to be sold during the times of food shortage and in times of need.
ቡና እንደ በላሽ ቀደሉ እንደዛ እናደርጋለን። ከቡናው ከፈት ለማድረግ አይቆረጥም አይቆረጥም። ቡናው አይጎዳም ምንም አይሆንም። በቃ ይሄ አንድ ሳምንት በኋላ ሌላ ይበቅላል። እሱም እንደገና እንደዚህ እና ሆኖ ደግሞ ትልቅ ዛፍ ይሆናል። ከቆየም ከተከልኩት ወደ 30 ዓመት በላይ ነው። ወደ 35 እንደዚህ ይደርሳል። ደግሞ ወደፊትም በየዓመቱ በአንድ ጊዜ ሲያፈራ አንድ 2 ኩንታል 3 ኩንታል ይለቀማል።
The fruit components of agroforestry have direct and indirect benefits. Avocado, mango, banana, and pineapple occur in large quantities, whereas guava, orange, and annona occur in smaller numbers. The fruits are used both for household consumption and also for cash generation. The Gedeo agroforests are endowed with diverse tree species selectively integrated into the system for their multiple benefits and functions. The original settlers retained selected scattered trees in the newly cleared farmlands to entice the lower canopy crop species to grow like the trees, and also with the objective of retaining the genetic pool of the mother trees. Apart from the commonly growing fruit crops, such trees as Miletia, Cordia, Erythrina, Ficus, Echebria, Albizia, Wolancho, Vernonia, croton, and polischias are some of the most dominant endemic ones. Incense and coffee are plants which can be grown without shade, but here they have proved quite successful and productive under the canopies of scattered trees. Miletia is a tree with small and thinly spread crown system. This characteristic enables a tree to allow sufficient solar radiation to infiltrate and reach the lower canopy layers. On the other hand, such species such as Vicus vasta, F. sur, and Ithrina abyssinica have much bigger leaves and deeper crowns. The dense crowns provide shade for the lower canopy crops like incense and coffee, and the shedding leaves perpetually decompose and maintain soil fertility. Farmers of Wonago do not have sufficient land area for animal grazing. However, they rear livestock and produce animal products by feeding leaves and twigs as well as weedy species harvested from the multi-story home gardens. The animals also provide important soil fertility maintenance, media, manure, and help improve crop production. Polischias fluva is a tree which is used to construct and hang beehives. The flowering trees have made honey production successful. Various parts of trees are also used for healing different human and animal health disorders. Leaves, barks, and branches are used for healing diverse ailments. Trees are also used for making household utensils like chairs, tables, and doors. Tree products constitute important sources of household fuel requirements. Farmers harvest mature trees after making sure that there are adequate replacements for future shade provision and for green manure production. Researchers found that there are more than 40 Miletia seedlings of a single species in every 100 meters squared of farmland. Farmers selectively retain seedlings of desired species at certain intervals to fill the gaps or transplant to open areas in the farm. The rest of the unwanted seedlings are roughed out either by slashing or by shallow cultivation. Together with the spontaneously emerging weed species, the various tree seedlings are used for soil fertilization. Whereas Erythrina is preferred in the highlands, Miletia is much appreciated in the middle and lower altitudes.
ከብርብራና ከባህር ዛፍ የቱን ይመርጣሉ? አሁን ቢሰጥ
ለማሳለ ለእርሻ የሚጠቅመው ብርብራ ነው። ባርዛፉ መሬቱን እንትን ያደርጋል። ቡኖ ነው ኦኬ ወይሾ ነው ኦኬ አራቶ ካዳ ላኦነ ኮምፖስት
Even though the district is largely characterized by sloping terrains, the soil is still intact due to dense vegetation cover throughout the year, the binding effects of tree roots. The multi-story land use system accommodates more than 1,040 persons per square kilometer. The population density there is considered as one of the highest in Africa. Highly complex agroforestry land use system has enabled such high population density to survive without serious livelihood problems.
ያው ይሄ ወናጎ ወረዳ ትንሽ የጂኦግራፊካላዊ አቀማመጥ ራሱ በጣም ተዳፋታማ ነው። ከዚህ ቀደም የነበሩት አባቶች ደግሞ ይህን ተዳፋታማ መሬት በዚህ በጥምር እርሻ በቡና በእንሰት በተለያየ ዛፎች ባይጠብቁ ኖሮ በጣም አስቸጋሪ ነበር።
Wonago farmers sell their farm products and buy supplies they need. The life of families in this area is similar to their environment.
አካባቢ የባህላዊ ምግብ ነው። ያው በፊት እንደተመለከታችሁት ቆጮም የሚዘጋጀው በእንደዛ አይነት መልኩ ነው። ያው ሁሉ ተዘጋጅቶ ቆጮ ሆኖ ይቀርባል መጨረሻ። ይሄ ደስ የሚል የባህላችን ዋና ምግብ ሲሆን የሚበላው ከክትፎ ጋርና ከተለያዩ ነገሮች ነው እና ይሄ ሁሉ የዛው የወናጎ አካባቢ ምርቶች ናቸው እነዚህ።
The Wonago agroforests are spectacular land use systems that need and deserve to be visited by many.
Agroforestry system which is existing in that area is a panacea for every type of problems. Still, the system has certain problems. For instance, one of the major problems in the system is the system is highly threatened by the high number of population densities, and there is the number of people is escalating at faster rates. Then that will attribute to the pressure of land, the pressure on the existing system, and that is a major threat. The population increment is the major threat. Because of that, the system is facing a challenge from the conversion from the mixed type of farming to a monocrop type of farming. And we assume that as an expert or as a professional, we assume that this may challenge the existing indigenous agroforestry system of the area.
ነገሮች እያደጉ እየጨመሩ በሄዱ ቁጥር አንድን የምግብ ዋስትና ችግር ሊያጋጥም ይችላል። አንዱ የራሱ የሆነ እንትን አለው። በሌላም በኩል ደግሞ ምናልባት ያንን ችግሩን ለመቅረፍ አሁን የያዘውን ሲስተም ምናልባት ሉዝ እንዳደረገ አሁን ትልቁ ለኛ ትልቁ ስጋታችን አሁን እሱ ነው።
Introduction of lucrative cash crops such as sweet potato, sugarcane, and eucalyptus has seriously endangered soil fertility and the sustainability of the system. Despite the cursing from the traditional leader, Abagada, these crops are still known and slowly expanding in the district. In relation to the rapidly increasing population, the landholding size per household is expected to decline sharply, and this may threaten the sustainability of the system. Cash crops in the home gardens are intermittently infested with disease organisms and insect pests. Weldo, bacterial wilt, and titi, mealybug damage are serious menaces to insects. A parasitic vine, locally known as shararit, reduces coffee production by tightly knotting the leaves and branches together and also sucking the growth materials from the plants. Some farmers are replacing major tree components of the traditional land use system by commercial crops. Cutting of indigenous cordia trees and replacing them with cash crops is seen as one of the major threats. To alleviate the aforementioned problems, it is vital to diversify alternative livelihood strategies outside of farming. Family planning programs and education are also indispensable to reduce the pace of population rise. Adequate education programs and job opportunities for educated youth help ease the pressure on the limited land resources. An alternative solution demanded by farmers is to resettle part of the population in less populated or inhabited parts of the country.
In view of the problems and constraints and threats that this farming system is facing, we have put forth some recommendations and alternative solutions. One of the alternative solution could be to reallocate part of the population from the region or from the area to other less populated areas. This could still take some time, and this is also not something that can be done in short time. And it should also be assisted by strong studies and planning from all concerned officials and officers. The other alternative could be to educate more children and to send more children in schools so that they can find or create alternative job opportunities for themselves in the future. This can relieve the pressure which is currently placed on the land use system in the area.
Dissemination of the sustainable land use system of high carrying capacity to other regions of similar ecological conditions and socioeconomic settings is highly recommended. This helps to increase the productive potential of the land and successful rehabilitation of degraded lands. A well-planned land use system is vitally important to guarantee food security and to restore degraded ecosystems through tree planting.
Nusoche misperezore, nusoche gakare, nusoche uinga girane, nusoche gakare, nusoche orazalage, nusoche gakare, nusoche kareza weshe.